Welcome back to a new video for the Linux series. For this video, I'll be going over package management and updating Linux devices. Um, so with the first exercise I'll be doing just a couple. I'll be installing and updating software using DNF. Now, typically, a Linux repository can contain like important software for different types of Linux distributions. Everyone has its own standard repository. So DNF, what it does is it's a software package manager that can perform installations, updates, and removal of packages. So what I'll do is I'm going to showcase managing software repositories using DNF and Alma Linux. If it ever gets going for me here, let's see. All right. Open up the terminal as usual, of course. All right, so I'm just going to navigate to another repository here. So bear with me just a moment. All right, perfect. So now that we're in, let's take a look at what's in it. All right, and the permissions rather. So the Yum repository that I'm in now, it's a repository manager. Now in this particular environment that I'm in, Alma Linux, the repositories are defined in the yum.repos.d repository. As you can notice, all the files with the repo here, the repo extension. So now I'm just going to, let's see, before I wait up, blow it up, there it is. I'm going to enter in a new command, Alma Linux, repo, right? So with this one, right, we can see our file, right? So you notice that the base here, the base URL, and you have the mirror list, and then you also have the GPG key, right, down here, right? And it's actually components of those in each of these URLs, base URLs here. But nonetheless, the location of all the software in the repo. Now, typically, if you're unable to connect to the base URL, the location in the mirror list normally is search. And the GPG key is a public cryptographic key. Now, through the current list that I have, it's in the yum.repos.d directory. These repos will migrate to the DNF configuration directory also. So I'm going to actually exit the Linux repo file with Control X. And now that I'm back on the terminal, we're going to use the DNF command here for HTTP. Okay. Perfect. Now, what this does is the list command, the DNF list command, I'm using it to explore the contents of the DNF repository. So when I use it with the HTTPD option, the command will list, as you can see now, the HTTPD packages. Perfect. And it looks like it's took a look at all of the available, so I can return the next command here. All right. Now just looking up the search parameter because it's searching by the keyword. So you'll see matches of, as you can see, in a different color for HTTPD. And now I'm going to enter in my next command, which is for info on the same keyword. All right, so now the info parameter, just listing all the information on the HTTPD package, as you can see showcased here. So now I'm just going to do some installing. Okay. Perfect. Now, what I do was with this particular the DNF install command, it's installing the HTTPD software from a repository. So you'll notice that all that's installed, the application, the dependencies, and also the weak dependencies as well. Okay. Just waiting for the install to complete. Should be just a moment. Ah, there it is. Perfect. I love when they're super quick. All right, so let's go ahead. The next install. Is it working? it is. All right, perfect. Should ask me for a password again. Unable to no map. Here. Why not? Try one more. Unable to find it. Let's see. All right, so looks like no matches were found with the Webmin software and the DNF repository, which is okay. So I'm just going to clear it out, right? And so I could get a nice clean screen. So now I'm just going to install a custom repository, right? And I'm going to name it webmin.repo to install a software not found in the default. So I'm just going to do a sudo edit. Okay. Asking for a password. But now I'm going to go into insert mode and then type a few things here. Just so you don't have to go through the drag of me typing everything I'm going to type, I'm going to place you on the other side of it. All right. So I fully typed out everything here. Just showcasing the required text to be entered for me to type to continue with creating the custom repository, right? So now that I'm finished, just going to hit escape. Okay, escape here. And then I'm going to exit with this command here. So now I'm back at the terminal. So now I'm going to import the signing key or the GPG key. And I'm going to do that with the sudo command. If it'll type for me. There it is. Okay. And it's importing. Right, perfect. There we go. So let's do it'll type here. Okay, perfect. So now I can do my DNF command here. Yeah, install Webmin. Should ask me a question in a second. This is. So the custom repository is now being installed and it should be installed successfully, I might add. And it may take a few minutes for it to complete. So I'll place you guys on the other side of it. Perfect. So it has successfully completed. And so now I'm going to move forward with removing the installed software package. All right, so let's get started with the first command, right? Sudo dnf remove pd, right? Yes, this is okay. All right, and in just a few moments, the primary software package HTTPD should be, well, there it is, successfully removed. All right, so let's start with another removing or command rather for removing. Okay. Yes, this is fine. All right, so what the DNF command does is it used with the auto remove parameter, it will remove all the orphan packages from the previously removed software package from HTTPD, right? So now the orphan packages that were dependent on that HTTPD repository, as I removed it, they are no longer referenced to the repository, hence can be removed to free up disk space. But nonetheless, now that I'm done with installing the prior one and removing the prior one, the HTTPD, I can go ahead and close this out. So now what I'm going to do for my final exercise, I'm going to install and update software using APT, which is it's a command line tool that works with Ubuntu's advanced packaging tool to manage software packages, right? So I'm going to use it to first explore and install the current repository, right? So let's actually swivel over to another server here. Just a second. Let's see. All right, perfect. So I now have it up and running. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's initially go change directory. Let's move here. All right, perfect. So now that we're in, let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. Right. And the permissions for those files. So pretty much it just has a list of all the repositories that exist on the Linux system. So now I'm just going to take a look here at the sources. Right. And what this does for me, pretty much as you can see, the sources list file is displayed. It contains all the details on the repository. Each line that's not commented with a hashtag as a repository. Now, this format that you can see here is shown for a repository. You have DEB, HTTP, and then the URL of the repository. Things of that nature. The DEB just indicates the type of package used by the repository. The second field is the URL of the repository naturally, right? And the third field is the Ubuntu install version. And the final field indicates the type of repository. So I'm just going to exit out of here. Now I'm back on the terminal. Let's take a look at the apt list in Jinx. Okay. All right, perfect. So it just lists the Nginx software package that is available to me. So now I'm just going to do a search that lets me. Not what I wanted. Why is it? There it is. Perfect. So it just did a complete search for the Nginx software package. So now I'm going to take a look at some info. Okay. And of course, naturally, right, listed all the information. All right. So now I'm just going to take a look at installing this command here. The software package should be installed in just a moment. Perfect. There we go. So there we go. So let's also take a look at installing Webmin as well. Okay, should be just a moment. Okay, perfect. So it looks like it was unable to locate. So there were no matches for the Webmin software package, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is install a third-party repository. So I'm going to enter in a long command. I'll put you guys on the other side of it so you don't have to bear with me entering the kind of a long command here. All right, so here's the command here. Before I hit enter, I just want to make sure it's highlighted. So the sudo, right, add apt repository and then the everything else after. So did it do with it? Need a single repository. Okay. Let's see. It's always user error, so I'm just looking at where my error could have been. I see. Some way, somehow, I put it in twice. Okay, that's fine. So let's see here. There it is. Perfect. Check it down in just a moment. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to import the signing key. So there we go. Perfect. Just like clockwork. Oh, I want it. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now we can do an update. Didn't take long. All right, now we're installing. Yes, of course. So now the webmin package is being installed and should be successfully. Once this progress is at 100 complete, then I'll be able to move forward with the final task, which will be upgrading and removing the installed software. So I'll use APT to upgrade it and then remove the install software package and its dependencies, similar to what I did prior. And I'll do that once this progress has fully completed, which again should be once this progress reaches 100%. All right, so it's finally completed. So let's go ahead with the next command here. We started on upgrading and removing the install software. Let's do sudo apt upgrade webmin. There we go. Ask me a question in just a moment. And then in just a moment, the webmin package should be successfully upgraded. Then I'll get started with removing it. Just a second here. So now it's officially done. So I can start the process with getting web min removed. So let's start with sudo apt remove webmin. All right, should ask me a question in just a moment. There it is. All right, should not be long. And then the webmin software package will officially be removed. And then I also have to remove the files dependent upon that repository, well, the software package also. So give it just a second. So it has been successfully removed. So let's go ahead and start with completing everything to remove it. Auto remove. Yes. So it's just removing the orphan dependencies, any dependencies upon the software package uh, for webmin. But nonetheless, since it has been officially been removed after being upgraded, and then also removing the dependencies upon it, This brings us to the end of the video for package management and updating Linux devices. Just for a brief recap, we installed and updated software using DNF, and we also installed and updated software using APT with exploring and installing repositories, having a custom repository as well, and installing a third-party repository as well. And again, this brings us to the end of the video. There's definitely a lot more topics that's going to be covered within Linux for this Linux series. Can't wait to see you on the next video. Until then, stay curious, stay secure.